All right, man, told you talk. Hey, how y'all doing, man? How y'all doing? Y'all see it? The new crown, baby. The new crown. The king is moving up in the world. I got a new one. It's a little more shiny, a little more golden. All of the jewels are in the crown. The last crown I've been through a war. I was in a war, man, with some of the subscribers. They knocked some of the jewels off. Had to go full torture talk. But I'm back. Other crown's still around, though. Don't, you know what I mean? That's the war crown. It has to stay around. You know what I mean? Got the war scars, the battle scars. So you're going to see that one still around. But this is the new crown. You know what I'm saying? So look, today's episode, we're going to check in with Willie D. And he had someone on his show who talked about Kendrick Lamar and how the significance of Not Like Us and what it has changed for hip hop and why directly a little bit scared of Kendrick, you know what I mean? Or people like Kendrick. So before we get into that, legendary spill. This is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, let me work for your subscription today. All the beautiful, single, sexy ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know where to find the ones that just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is in the description. Cash App, no more PayPal. They call me the hidden gem. 1,300 subscribers, over 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19,000. And yes, I am the king of the north. Let me know what kingdom you are from. You know what I'm saying? Also, go subscribe to Torture Talk After Hours. Page is up and running as well. So look, man, we're going to get into this. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate y'all. Look like one of my dreads came loose. Oh, no. So still good. So let's get to it, man. Let's do it. All right, man. So let's get to it, man. See what they talking about.
Willie D Live.
So it takes money to go in there and make these records. And if we make these records and the people that's talking the loudest, that's saying they won't change, they're saying that they want more diversity, they want the real substance back. If they're not gonna buy the records, all they're gonna do is talk shit, then it's not worth it.
Right.
At the end of the day, and you can love doing.
Well, that's not true. That's actually not true. Kendrick Lamar sold the most records this year and last year. So that's definitely not true. That's not true that people won't go buy the records. People will. If he's talking about the overall narrative about what's going on, yeah, but truth be told, Kendrick is really running the game right now. So you have some other artists that really don't talk about a bunch of nothing, but they don't really sell to me. Outside of NBA Youngboy, they don't really sell too many. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
I love making music, but the older I get, the more valuable my time becomes.
Right. Now, I'm going to tell you the reason for that, right? It goes back to what we was talking about earlier. The reason the labels won't do a deal with you is because you're no longer the naive, unintelligent businessman. You know the game. You know what mechanical rights are. You know what royalties are. You know what publishing are. These young niggas, they don't know it, right? Mm-hmm. So they can...
That's not true. That's 100% false. That is 100% false. I don't know what young boys you talking about. And record labels nowadays, they're looking for people who actually know about the business before. Because see, before it was easy to fool people. Record labels got smarter. Record labels got smarter when it comes to these artists. They also know that they can make better deals with these artists because the artists they know a little more now. Not to say that the record labels still don't try to do their little sneaky things, because they do. But overall, I believe that the record labels out here now are not the same as they was before. You know what I mean? They know that how valuable some of these artists are, and these artists know how valuable they are. Let's take Drake, for example. Drake is the only artist that has actively pursued a lawsuit against his label, and the label is still promoting him. So obviously Drake is not stupid. He knows some things about what's going on. Now, I'm not saying that artists never sued their labels, because they were, but not at this magnitude. Is totally different. So what he's saying here is kind of false, because I understand what he's saying, but that's the old ideology. People don't think like that no more. The age of the internet is here. A lot of these old heads, they know the internet is here, but they don't understand how these young boys utilize this. A lot of these young kids are very much smarter than what we were, because they have information in their hands at their fingertips. They can ask ChatGPT anything, and they'll tell them. They can say, hey, can you build me a business? And it will do that. We didn't have that back in the day. So it's not the same. I understand what he's trying to say, but he's coming at it from a point of view of all of these young boys are naive and stupid. What? Really? They're really naive and stupid? All of these artists that are multimillionaires, that have more money than y'all, that are naive and stupid when it comes to these record labels? I don't follow that. I totally disagree.
And rape and rob them, right? You sitting at the negotiation table is much different. They can't take advantage of you. So these dudes and the positions of power to sign artists like yourself, you know what I'm saying, or a Nas or a Jay or whatever, is different because you know what your worth is.
Again, this is a common misconception by old heads, as if these young dudes don't know their worth. A lot of these young dudes, they have a great team around them. Now, they make bad decisions when it comes to their lifestyle. But as far as like if you look at the hits that they had produced, and I ain't talking about their rapping ability, I'm talking about their marketing, the way they moved. A lot of these young boys, they knew what they were doing. They know what they're doing. They know how to keep their finger on the pulse. And they also know how to manipulate the system. They also know how to talk to a lot of these record labels now. They know what they're doing. They're not as stupid as a lot of these old heads make them out to be. Because see, these old heads, don't get me wrong, I love old heads. You know what I'm saying? But these old heads, they think that everybody is stupid in the room but them. That's just the bottom line. When it comes to old heads in the music game, they swear they know more than you. You could be way more richer than them. You could have more things than them, more hits than them, but they know more than you when it comes to the music industry. You figured it out, but no, you don't know what you're talking about, young boy. You don't know what you're talking about. I got 50 hits. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't care how many hits you got. You still don't know what you're talking about. You can't even tell me what this is. Be like, well, I can tell you. No, that's not what that means. Be like, no, they updated that 5 years ago. No, they didn't update it. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie online. That's what they do. A lot of you old heads, man.
This industry is in the business of robbing us, right? This is why they doing streaming now, right? Streaming, what they doing is one for you, one for me.
Criminal.
Two for you, one, two for me. Three for you, one, two, three for me. That's what streaming is.
Well, it's not necessarily that the music industry is in the business of robbing you. Let's make this clear. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I don't think I support a lot of the stuff that goes on. I'm just playing devil's advocate. And I want y'all to understand something. You gotta be smart, right? And I get what he's saying, but you have to be valuable enough so when you come in, you make the decision. You have the best negotiation tools to actually have a better negotiation. A lot of these bulls that he's talking about, either they don't do that, they don't know how to do it. But I don't think that the record labels is taking advantage of people like people say they are. I think that the record labels are what they are. They tell you what this is. If you can afford it or cannot afford it, use it. But you don't have to do it. Let's be clear here. You do not have to sign to a label. You don't. This is what these old heads are never going to tell you. They'll tell you they're robbing you because they think that record labels are supposed to be these virtuous companies that don't supposed to take advantage of people, whatever. And I understand that point. That's true. But you also got to take into consideration that these record labels are out here to do that. But there's a big but there. You don't have to sign with them. But a lot of these old heads would never tell you that. They look at it like, well, if you get signed, they supposed to give you a great deal. You got to read the paperwork. A lot of these dudes don't do that. I'm telling you, I was in a whole organization that I built. You know what I'm saying? I built called Shadow Company. We was in a whole organization. And the dudes that I was running with, they did not want to do paperwork. They didn't want to do none of that. And I said, no, for the future, we have to do that. And ultimately, we didn't pass. We failed. You know what I'm saying? And that's being real. We failed. So my thing is, you have to know your paperwork. You have to read. You have to get a entertainment lawyer to go through your stuff. Now, a lot of people say, well, people can't really afford entertainment lawyers. Then don't do it until you can. A lot of y'all think because these record labels throw y'all $1 million that y'all rich. That's advance money that you eventually got to pay back. And a lot of y'all stay stuck in there. Y'all don't want to pay the money back. Y'all, the first thing y'all to go do is buy a Lambo. Y'all buy a expensive jewelry, $250,000 on a chain. Y'all try to look like these expensive rappers walking around with big money phones, bragging, all this stuff, not knowing that you're being taken advantage of. Now, I get what he's saying. That is exactly what he's saying. But I think that the common artists today don't fall for the trickery no more. A lot of them probably have good deals, or they have somewhat of a good deal. But, you just gotta understand what you're dealing with. Gotta understand what you're dealing with.
Right? Because how could we go from selling a single for 99 cents, right? Or an album for $10.99 and sell 1 million of them and not get the same money? It's easier now with it being digital to reach the masses. Now we can sell to dudes in Germany without having to go to Germany, without having to package and distribute it. It's the same music. It's the same thing, it's just in a different format. Like I told you, I went from VHS to DVD to now MP3 or MPEG-4s to streaming, right? It's the same goddamn VHS. You're watching the same hour program, but now it's just...
That's not true. That's not true. There is a significant difference. Now, if let's take it down to the micro. You know what I mean? The quality is different. The sound quality is different, right? Some people say CD sound quality is better, but see, you got to understand. CDs can only package a certain amount of songs without losing its quality, right? MP3s is probably not, it's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's not the best quality. CDs is actually the best quality. You know what I'm saying? But for you to produce CDs, that costs money. Now, a lot of these artists probably are making more money than they ever made in their career if they are signed to a major label. They're probably making more money. Now, the old artists are not making no money because they're not either not signed to a major label or they don't own none of their masters. So they're not making no money. That's another thing, too, that a lot of these artists, a lot of the old heads ain't going to say. You got to get your business in order. Now, I know y'all going to say, well, this is what he's saying right now. No, he's actually not saying that. He's actually saying the opposite of it. He's saying that they are playing, these record labels play you. I'm saying that if you come into the game being aware and knowing, maybe no, they won't play you. Or if you have a net worth, record labels ain't going to play with you like that. See, I'll tell you, a lot of record labels, they go for people now that has a net worth that they don't have to put too much money into. And you can negotiate what you want in your contract. You know what I'm saying? So as far as streaming goes, there's ways that people get around streaming and they cheat the system. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
It's in the format that I could ship it all over the world. The price didn't change. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. When you have to ship something, it costs money. It costs money to get there. You got to put out money. The price definitely did change. You know what I'm saying? Like, to press this stuff up, you got to have a distribution company. All of that costs money. Streaming, you upload it to a system, you pay a fee, a set fee, and that's it. It's way more cheaper. Streaming is way more cheaper. Now, some would argue that the record labels may make more money overall, but the artists will too. Eventually, if you ask me, the artists will too. I think physical copies are better. I will agree. Physical is always better than digital. Because this way, if it's physical, you can keep it for the rest of your life. Digital, usually, if it's something's digital, they can cut that. Let's say Spotify shuts down today. All your music is gone. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always say physical is better.
Didn't change is that these motherfuckers just got smart and told us, oh, it's streaming. You know what I'm saying? And they robbing us.
And it's also easier to.
Well, they're not actually robbing us. That's the thing y'all gotta understand. You put yourself in this situation. They're not robbing you. If you know that a company is dirty, why would you work for them? And if you don't have somebody that knows the literature, then why are you signing it? So you can't say that they're robbing us. I understand ultimately if you're saying that they're robbing us, and people will probably agree. But you also gotta say to yourself, you just gotta say to yourself, well, how the hell did you get in this contract? Who signed this deal? Like, if y'all look at the record industry different from all of these other industries that y'all support, and y'all say, well, that's his contract. If you go work for, let's say you work for the state, and the state gives you a contract saying that you work at a hospital, and the state says you can't do this in front of, you can't do this to any patients, right? You signed that contract, but let's say you defending yourself now, and now you get something happens to you, and you defend yourself, and it looks like you actually did something to the patient, you get fired. It's no difference to me if you say, no, I'm not going to sign this. Because I know for a fact that in the situation that could happen. Y'all say, well, why would you sign that contract if you know it was bad for you? This is what the old heads will never tell you. They'll never say that. Why are a lot of these people signing these contracts when we know you saying that the record labels are robbing you? Then won't you tell them not to sign contracts and make their own record labels, make their own business? You don't need a record label to actually be successful anymore. You don't. You don't need none of that. You don't. You can be successful. There's a lot of artists that's not signed right now that are millionaires, and they're getting all their money to themselves. Why you think Kanye West did what he did? He went online, he built his own website, sold his music by himself. Now he been doing some weird shit, but still, you know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why a lot of these old heads always say stuff like this. I get it, but that's how y'all used to be. A lot of these young boys are much smarter now. Much smarter. Not to say ain't nobody out there getting got over on. Yeah, of course. Of course.
Still what the true numbers are when it's there.
Exactly, because you can't see, it's like the lotto.
You got to actually go by whatever information that they give you, unless you're willing to pay for an auditor to go in there and hit those books.
Right.
Examine those books. That's the only way. And how many times, in an artist's career would they audit a record label? Like most artists will go through their career and never audit their label.
Right.
Not even one time.
Right.
And that's insane, because that should always be oversight. That should always be oversight. That should always be trust, but verified.
Right. Like right now, Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us, sold 10 million, which probably means it's 50 million.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But we cannot count it because they're physical. It's not physical copies.
You can't. Okay. This is another thing that old heads do a lot. They always assume something. You can't say what you have to give me some substantial proof of this happening before and they came out and that happened. You can't just say, well, it's probably, and because what happens is now your audience is saying, yeah, it is. They're not saying it's probably, they're saying, yeah, it is 50 million. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I never do that. At least I try not to. If I did, then I shouldn't be doing that. But I never do that. I never say that something's probably something as a fact. You know what I'm saying? Because my thing is, if it's on paper that it's 50 million until it's proven differently, you can't live off conspiracy theories because we'll drive ourselves crazy. If it's 50 million, it'll come out that it was 50 million. It can't. The one thing you got to understand, I want y'all to understand something. And this is a fact. This is a fact. The truth will always come out. I don't care. You could be dead and gone. It'll come out. You can't hide it forever. You could delete it. You could try to get rid of it. It's always going to come out. So until it comes out, I have to go off what it said. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth. You have to go off what is said until you see something different, unless you're going to go and investigate. If you're going to go and investigate and you find something different and it's actually different, then yeah. But a lot of people are not going to go and investigate. People are just going to assume that it's more. But you can't keep assuming. If you keep assuming things, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Because if it says 10 million and you assuming it is 50 million, and then all the way until you die, it's always 10 million. And then you die and it's 10 million. And it comes out that it was 10 million the whole time. That's why I said I don't do stuff like that. And I just don't think people should do that. People shouldn't do that.
I suggest that artists like Nas and all these other dudes go back to physical copies, even if you shipping out a disc drive, right? Or you go, some of us still got CD players in their car. I got a new car and it still got a CD player.
Nah, he bugging, bro. This is the old head logic, bro. Those days are long gone, bro. You're gonna waste more money pressing up CDs and sending them out to actually streaming, bro. You're bugging. Even if I would go as far as saying, even if they did get over on you, right? You still will probably make more money streaming than if you was to sell physical. I 100% want physical. I'm not saying I don't. I like physical. But if we're talking from the money aspect, or you have to understand, if you're saying going back to physical copies, which is nuts to me, right? If you say for a limited time only, yes, right? But if you're saying sell physical copies all over the world, when you know that you're streaming, you could upload one song, and it goes on 10 streaming services simultaneously, and then it gets distributed all over the world, versus you selling physical copies, you lost your goddamn mind, bro. No, absolutely not. No, I would say, hey, for a limited time only, you can get a copy of this CD. It's on demand. And if you do that, then you will make money because people will say, okay, I want the copy of the CD. Not just actually selling the CDs or pressing them up and then trying to sell them to everybody. That doesn't make sense. Because what if nobody buys them and you pressed all these CDs up for nothing? There's one artist that does that to this day. His name is, I think it's Tom McDonald. Tom McDonald does that. He presses up physical CDs. Now, I know that y'all probably hate Tom McDonald, but I'm just telling y'all what he do. I'm just saying what he does. You know what I'm saying? But he presses up physical CDs and he gives them out. But his audience asks for that. That's what it is. So it has to be on demand. It can't just be low. Yo, go back to selling physical CDs. Now people like, well, I'm not going to buy no physical CD. I don't even have a CD player. You like sell a CD player with it. What? Who's going to manufacture that? like, come on, bro.
Press up 50,000 CDs and sell them. You know what I'm saying? Your fans are your fans. They're going to buy it however you give it to them. You know what I'm saying? But don't do it to deal with the Universals and all these other people. Now you have the capability of just shipping a goddamn disk drive. You can sell 1 million disk drives.
Yeah, he's bugging. Yeah, he's bugging out, man. Nah. I don't think that that's a good idea. I don't think that artists should press up 50,000 CDs, which is pretty hard to do because you got to get the jewel cases, you got to get the artwork done. It's not as easy as he making it out to be. No, absolutely not. Pressing up 50,000 CDs, I think that you should say any artist that wants a CD, like if any of my fans want a CD, is a special order. You can get a physical copy of the CD. If you do that, then you print on demand. You don't have to print up 50,000 and then you try to sell all 50,000. No, you might get 100,000 people might want it. You know what I mean? And you can say, hey, look, if you sell out, you can say I sold out. You know what I'm saying? But if it's on demand, people can actually order it whenever they want. That's what I'm saying. That's what I would do if I wouldn't do what he's saying. Press them up and then press them and then with CD players. Come on, bro. Like, nah, I don't agree with that. Now, as far as what he was saying about Kendrick Lamar is a very smart artist. He's not stupid. He has a very good team around him. So he has a good deal. A lot of these artists a lot of these old heads got to understand. Kendrick Lamar is not old. He's still young. He's still young. He's not 24, 25 years old. And he knows the game. He's been in the game for a while. He knows the game. So he knows what he's doing. He's not stupid. And I think these labels know that. A lot of artists are not dumb as they acting as like they are. A lot of these old heads be trying to make it seem like these artists are stupid. If these artists are more successful than you, then how are they dumb? I just don't understand that. So, but thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all, man. I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out of here. Peace. Bye.